All right, oops, sorry, hitting the camera. On the back, problem 4, we are finding out the information about the circle, the area of the circle, the circumference of the circle, the length of the darkened arc, and then also the area of the sector. And let's go ahead and say it's that sector. So remember, area of a circle is pi r squared. Our radius is 10, so it's pi times 10 squared, which is 100 pi. If this were a multiple choice question, your answer might be in terms of pi, or it might be a decimal. If it's a free response, you just want to follow the directions. So I'm going to write it as both, just so we 314.159 square meters. I'm going to write it both just so we have both answers. All right, so either 100 pi square meters or 314.159. Sorry, my handwriting got a little sloppy there. Square meters. So that's the area. Circumference we know is pi times diameter, which is the same as 2 times pi times the radius. When I look at this, if my radius is 10, my diameter is 20 meters. So my circumference is 20 pi. That's just in meters. Or we could multiply that through and get 62.832. And that would be still meters, because it's just the length. All right, the darkened arc. So now I'm going to go to my proportion, and I'm going to say, when I consider that there's 360 degrees of arc in a circle, this arc is taking up 120 of them. So I'm going to do 120 over 360, and that's going to equal my arc length. I'm going to call that x times pi over my circumference, because I'm doing an arc length, so over 20 pi. And when we cross multiply, I'm going to ignore the pi's, so I'm going to do 120 times 20 equals 360 times x. So 120, times 20 is 2,400. That's going to be equal to 360 times x. I'm just going to divide that by 360. X is 6 2/3, or 6.6 repeating. All right, so remember, my arc length is that times pi. So I would accept the repeating decimal. Or if we actually go through and multiply that by pi, 20.944. And that's again going to be in meters, because it's just the length of the arc. Lastly, area of the sector, pretty much the same process. We're comparing 120 out of 360 degrees of arc to our unknown area divided by our total area, which is 100 pi. Same thing, I'm going to cross multiply without considering pi, just to make it easy, because they would cancel out if we did consider pi. All right, so we get 120,000, excuse me, 12,000, sorry, divided by 360. So our sector area is 33 1/3, or 33.3 repeating times pi. So 33.3 repeating pi. And if you're doing that by multiplying through by pi, that's approximately 104.720. And again, that's in square meters because it's an area. All right, let's look at problem 5. So for problem 5, you are in a lighthouse and looking down at a ship as it approaches the harbor. The angle at which you're looking down, or the angle of depression, is 40 degrees. You know the lighthouse is 204 feet tall. How far is the ship from the base of the lighthouse? Sketch a picture. Show all work. All right, so here's my lighthouse. I'm just gonna put a person up here. All right, so you're in a lighthouse looking down at a ship. Let's say that this is our ship. So if that's our horizontal, and you're looking down at the ship at an angle of depression of 40 degrees, this is your 40-degree angle, not this, but this angle right here. All right, we know the lighthouse is 204 feet tall. So from here to here is 204 feet. Sorry, I'm kind of off the screen. And we're trying to figure out how far away the ship is. And I know my drawing's not very good, but this is a right triangle problem. All right, I'm gonna just re-sketch my right triangle. So again, I'm looking for this distance. I know this is 40, and I know that's 204 feet. And so remember, if I need the angle in my triangle, these are always parallel, so this is your 40-degree angle. So if someone on the ship is looking up at you, they're gonna look at you at the angle of elevation that matches your angle of depression. So that's your 40 degrees. So this is a trig problem, and if I think about it, I don't know anything about the hypotenuse. I'm given the opposite side, and I'm trying to find the adjacent side. So I have to use tangent. Oops, sorry, I keep bumping the camera. So the tangent of 40 degrees equals the opposite side over the adjacent side. And then remember, when the variable's on bottom, we can swap those out like we would in a proportion. So x equals 204 over the tangent of 40. Again, make sure you're in degree mode for this problem. So 204 divided by tan 40, 243.118. So the ship is 243.118 feet from the lighthouse. All right, the remaining problems will be in a different video, but hopefully you got those. Good luck.